Welcome back and welcome to day 7 of the Learn How to Study Abroad in 30 Days series. My name is Kimber. If this is your first video of the series that you're watching, I would highly recommend that you go back and watch videos 1 through 6 just to get caught up on everything. In today's video, we are going to be talking about how study abroad fits into your academic plan. So giving you some ideas to think through how this is actually going to fit into what you want to do from an academic and future professional perspective. Let's go ahead and dive into today's video. So for day 7, we are going to be talking about your academic plan. So we are going to be diving a little bit deeper into thinking about how study abroad actually fits with your academic plan. So when it comes to thinking about your academic plan, I want you, similar to what you've been doing with other modules thus far, and if you have not, if this is your first video that you're watching, I would highly recommend that you watch the other videos, as I said in the intro. But what you're going to want to do is a mix of things. So you're going to want to just sort of sit down with your pen and paper or your notepad digitally and just sort of map through your academic plan as it is of today. So let's say you are a high school / secondary school student and you are thinking about going to college or university, but you're not sure when that's going to be, you're not sure where that's going to be. And so you are interested in doing study abroad, but you're trying to think of how it is going to work. And later on in the series, we will talk more about when people typically study abroad. But you definitely want to sort of think through what that sort of looks like for you and how that's going to impact your academic plan. And in a second, we're going to talk about some of the common ways that it does. But I think this is similar to anything else. So you have your why, you sort of know when you want to do it, and you're starting to think about different programs. But also, too, how does this actually fit into the academic piece of things? And what is that going to look like when you study abroad? So are you going to be able to get the types of course credits that you need? Are you going to be experiencing things that may help you, let's say, while you're in high school, that could help you in the future when you go to college? Maybe it's related to what you want to study and do in the future. And so I definitely want you to think through that more thoroughly before you actually get to the stage of working through the application and finalizing your programs. So ways that study abroad can help your plan. So elective credits to start off are going to be a huge part of that. So I know that particularly here in the U.S., most of our colleges and universities and a lot of high schools have elective credit requirements. There is definitely an equivalent of that in a lot of different countries around the world as well. So you will want to apply that in your mind for whatever that is in your country. But elective credits are a bit different because you have your core course credits that, everyone needs to have to graduate or to get their diploma or whatever that looks like for you. But then elective credits tend to be things that are seen as much more fun credits, and often a lot of people, unfortunately, particularly in the college level, look at it as sort of throwaway credits. And they're not necessarily throwaway in the sense of you can pick sort of some mindless classes, but you need to do things too that are going to be enriching to you, because this is meant to be activity at the academic level that is enriching and interesting, but not necessarily your core basic thing. So maybe you are someone who you're studying, I don't know, maybe law. And so you've had a lot of really intense courses, but there is an opportunity for you to take maybe a creative writing course, which is not necessarily going to be directly related to your law degree, but it's something that could still be really enriching and could help you work on different skills that you may need to use in the future for some reason. So you want to think of it in that scope. And with elective credits, a lot of times students will try to pursue elective credits while they study abroad. I know that for me, I got a lot of elective credits while I was studying abroad. I did just want to mention, as I mentioned in a previous video within this series and previous videos on my channel, that you want to be careful about that and understanding how that works for you. So particularly if you are doing a faculty-led institutionalized program, meaning that you are doing a program that is related to the current school that you are enrolled in, you want to make sure that you have a very clear conversation with your academic advisor or with the financial aid officer, with someone that can give you a reassurance of how the credits are going to be applied, because there are some colleges, some universities, some high schools that do not really count study abroad towards elective credit. And even though you can still do it and not get the credit, you want to know whether you'll be eligible. That's the entire point, right? So you want to be very diligent about that and understanding how many, parts of elective credit will they accept. Is it going to be 3 units, 6 units, 12 units, whatever that means for your particular school, and how that's going to be applied, how it's going to show up in your transcript, different things like that. So you want to have that clear conversation with whoever is going to be in charge, particularly for the faculty-led. If you're doing a more independent nonprofit program, it may not be as important to you, but you still want to potentially get credit for what you're doing. So definitely understand how those elective credits are going to be applied. Same thing can be true for academic credits. You could be someone who is actually using study abroad for academic credits. In that case, it's even more serious. You want to make sure that you're getting the information that you need, because with your core academic credits, you need those things to be able to move to the next level and to graduate. So just make sure that you're clear on how the credits are going to work out for you. For foreign experience, that stands out still, as we were talking about in the previous video in the series, how, things are very competitive out there. They will continue to be competitive. And for the late millennials and the early Gen Zers, as I'm assuming most of you are, you're not just competing with your cohorts and your peers. You're also competing with technology and the robots who are coming out every day to replace you. And so while that may not be as relevant in every field that you're planning to go into, study abroad is still something that is seen as a bit unique, as we've talked about. Is something that a lot of students still do not do. And so it's going to be something that is going to follow you, hopefully in a positive way in the future, particularly as you begin, out there maybe applying for grad schools or looking for your first job, your second job, even your third job, where people are going to want to hear more about your experience of study abroad, because people look at that as, well, if you're someone who you had a successful time studying abroad, it means you've been verified in another country, right? And so you've had an opportunity to learn more about yourself potentially. There's a lot of great stories that can come out of study abroad about things that went well, maybe things that didn't go well. So if you're thinking about it from an interview perspective, you can often pull from your study abroad experiences to tell those stories. I have done that in the past and it worked out great. So consider it to be something that is a standout opportunity for you in the future, both academically and professionally. For language skill improvement, how does that fit into your academic plan? You may be potentially using your academic time abroad to improve on a language skill, and how that's going to be really important for you to carry forward. Maybe you're going to need that for your career. Maybe you're just using it to make sure that you can, improve for whatever your major is. However you're using that is going to be great for you. And how does that fit into your academic plan? Is there a way for you to be able to get the skills that you need, or to continue to build on the skills while you're abroad, that's going to work with your academic plan? Last but not least, cultural exposure. How does that work for your academic plan? I know for a lot of students, they look at this particularly from the perspective of just plain old networking. So how does that actually fit in with your academic plan? Are you someone who could potentially want to live abroad in the future, or you're maybe going to be interested in doing an internship and then maybe finding your first job or your second full-time job while you're abroad, or maybe you'll get lucky and do an inter-company transfer at one point abroad, but you want to have that cultural exposure first to the place that you really want to go. That's going to be a great opportunity to sort of use study abroad for that towards your future plans. So I want you to just spend a little bit more time mapping out what your academic plans are and just sort of thinking through that. You can return to the worksheet that you would have downloaded in day 1 or day 2. If you have not gotten a chance to get it yet, it is linked below. That can help you sort of think through your plans, but also just spend some of your own time just going through and mapping that out to sort of get very clear about how this is going to help you academically. So without a doubt, there are more than just 4 ways that study abroad can help with your academic plan, but I definitely just wanted to keep it simple. And I want to also just give you some homework too. I want you to sit down and make a list of an additional 5 to 10 ways you think that study abroad can help you with your academic plan. This is only going to help guide you more into thinking about what type of program is going to be best for you, and to just redefine your why for why you're doing this, as we talked about earlier in the series. So definitely spend some time sitting down and working on that to flesh out further how you think it's going to help you with your academics. I will see you tomorrow for day 8 of the series.